Good morning or good evening, everybody, depending on where you are. My name is Sean Lee, and welcome to this webinar on how to make a living in the retail foreign exchange market. And thank you very much to FX Street for allowing us this opportunity, because it's probably the most asked question I get from participants in the market is, well, the obvious one is how to make money. And the second one is how can I earn an income from in this space? So I will attempt to answer this question. Just a little bit about myself. I think I'm probably in a good position to answer most of these questions because I have for the last 12 years pretty much earned a fair income from the retail foreign exchange market. And there are lots of different ways to do it. And I'm going to try and go through them one by one. So, briefly, I'm going to talk about, for about 35 minutes, blather on a bit, and then I'll give you a chance to ask some questions. There's also a chat facility, so I can't guarantee that I can answer all questions that you throw at me, but I will try my best. But if you can, please hold them until the end. So, moving swiftly on. The first and the easiest way, I think, for individuals in the market to earn an income is by having their own blog. Now, forgive me if some of this information is too basic for some, but I want to try and cover as much as I possibly can. Now, you can create your own blog. The one that I'm most comfortable with, or have used the most, the software I've used the most is called WordPress. I'm sure there are other ones out there, but a WordPress blog is easily set up and costs you absolutely nothing. Then you need to get some traffic. So you can simply sit down all day long and write your musings on the market, your trade ideas or your analysis or whatever, your humorous asides, whatever it may be, and then you have to get some traffic. Now, the way to get some income once you have traffic coming to your site is firstly via sponsorship. For instance, on my FXWW blog is sponsored by Citibank. It's good to have a friend somewhere, and they, based on the traffic that you're attracting, they agree to sponsor your site for whatever the amount you can negotiate. So that's the easiest way if you have a friendly face who's willing to sponsor your blog. Secondly, via advertising. This is the normal way to do this is via Google AdSense. Again, you probably need a little bit of IT savviness here, or somebody who's going to help you with to integrate this into your site. So at this stage, you're probably moved on from the free model to a slightly more premium model of the WordPress software or the blogging software that you're using. But based on the hits that you get on your site, this Google AdSense will place ads that the visitor is most used to seeing, and you get paid accordingly. Now, the amounts are very small until you get up to a stage where you're getting hundreds of thousands of hits a month, and then it becomes reasonable. So, firstly, again, just to reiterate, you find a sponsor for your site. If you have enough traffic coming to your site, you can sell advertising, and the normal way to do this is via AdSense. And the third way to generate some income is via referrals, and many people call this an IB relationship, or an introducing brokerage relationship. But I'm not only going to talk about brokerage here. You could be selling any sort of a good in the market. So it could be a book, or it could be a training program. But the normal way to do this is a broker will say to you, "Oh, I love your website. How about I put my banner ad on your website, and every time somebody clicks through and opens an account, I will pay you an introducing fee, either just a flat fee for introducing the account, or some rebate based on the amount of income that account generates." Now, as I say here, be wary of these type of deals, because it is very, very difficult to track the number of referrals who are coming through your site. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. It's very difficult to track all of the accounts that come through from your site to the broker, and in fact, in a lot of cases, the client or the visitor may see plenty of ads or for this particular broker on your site, but then they go and actually open the account up directly with the broker. So I would not, from personal experience, I wouldn't build a site completely on this IB model, because, as I said, it's just too difficult to track. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Blogs can be very very rewarding, but it's a lot of hard work. So you've got to sit down, you've got to ensure that your content gets a lot of viewers. So you reach an agreement with your friendly portal like FX Street or some others. You get on Twitter and ensure that a lot of traffic comes to your site, and then you can start to earn some income. You're not going to retire on it, I can guarantee it, but as a way to supplement your trading income, it can be very useful. So the second way to earn some income is, well, I've called it here journalism. Again, I've had some experience here, having worked as a part-time analyst commentator for Reuters. And as the retail space has grown, so have the opportunities. So in the professional space, the big two here are Reuters and Bloomberg, and they employ plenty of commentators and analysts and pay them reasonably well. And in a lot of cases, they allow the analyst to continue to trade on their own account as well. So it can be, if you are good with the written word and you have some contacts in the market or an angle, then it could be very worthwhile to apply to either of the big two and see if you can get a starting role. Again, in most cases, you don't have to go and sit in an office. You can do this virtually, so you can do it from from home or from a home office. And as the retail FX market has grown, so have the opportunities with portals like FX Street. I mean, they're we mentioned them mainly here, but there are quite a few others, and they run 24/5, or as long as the market is open, and they need editors and commentators and analysts. So again, don't be shy. If you think you have something to offer, just approach one of these. Approach one of the portals and say, explain what you've got, show them an example of your work, try and put together a portfolio, and you never know. You may just get something. And again, I can't swear on this, but I believe it to be the case that in most cases you can continue to trade whilst you are carrying out this role. So that can be, quite a good way to go. Now, this is quite an interesting one, and it seems to be quite a growing market for providing reports, daily, weekly, hourly reports to brokers. It's becoming quite a common way for traders to generate some income. Again, you're not going to get rich on this, but particularly if you've got decent trade ideas, and this is what, looking at it from the broker's perspective, what the broker wants to do is keep his audience engaged, and he wants to, keep his clients trading, or give them, keep them thinking about the market and give them, some reason to trade. So that's why they will provide these daily and weekly reports. In fact, daily, they're probably sending out 2-3 reports a day, But what I will say here is the world is changing a bit in this regard, and most of the brokers are looking for licensed providers. So it may, not all of them, from what I have seen, but certainly a good few, certainly down here in Australia anyway, are looking for a licensed reporters. They won't send out your analysis unless you're licensed. But that's, as I said, there are others who will pay. Again, if you want some rough numbers, to provide a daily report, and you probably get $1,500 a month maybe from a broker of that order. So again, you're not going to run a family on it or get rich on it, but as an add-on to your trading income and other income, it can be quite useful. And the second way, of course, is to charge subscriptions for regular reports. Now, there are certainly in the professional space, the upper end of the analysis space, there are quite a few who are doing very well in this area, and providing reports to professional traders and to hedge funds and to banks and institutions. My experience in the retail space is that the audience doesn't really want to pay because it's online. They expect everything to be free. So to get just a retail player or the normal retail trader to pay you, whatever small amount per month, it's a difficult sell. It's just, as you see with all the newspapers around the globe trying to charge subscriptions, it's just we're probably not there yet. So selling reports to the brokers, definitely, that's definitely an option, and especially if you are able to provide these reports in languages other than English. I find that to be a growing market at the moment because there are so many reports in English, but there are so many traders who are, English is their second language. So there's definitely some possibilities there. As is for the subscriptions, you probably need to have a very, an excellent service and be able to provide it to institutions, as the retail space isn't quite ready for that yet. Now, just one quick question here, regarding the license that's needed for to provide reports. Like I know here in Australia, you need your just a basic AFSL license, which is to provide general advice. I think you would need to have that. Now, what that is in other areas, I would say it's probably similar. You would need a general license to provide general advice. So was I finished on that? So that covers reports, I think, pretty much. On to training and mentoring. Now, a lot of this is seriously packed area of the market, there are a few bigger companies who've made a lot of money in this, but personally, I can't say that I know too many traders who've been able to earn a good income from this area. It involves quite a lot of infrastructure. If you want to provide an online training, then you need to be quite IT savvy. If you want to provide seminars, it's just a big outlay. One, in terms of marketing, and secondly, in terms of booking hotels or booking venues. That's quite an expensive undertaking. And one-on-one training is just, unless you have somebody very rich who's going to pay you 10 grand to train them how to trade, it's a tough one. It's people may be willing to pay $500 or whatever for quite an extensive training, but to do that one-on-one is just not, it's not really economically viable. So, the training and mentoring, I don't really see huge possibilities here, unless, as I said, you are online savvy and are able to set up a good infrastructure, or you have the capital and you're able to run marketing campaigns and hire venues, etc., etc. And I've known here on the seminars, I've known quite a few people who've tried this, and it seems like such a great idea, but it's just been a difficult sell. So I'm not going to spend too much time on training and mentoring because I just simply think it's probably just too difficult. careers with banks. I'm not going to spend too much on time on this either, because it's, unfortunately for most people, it's just becoming a it's become, there's so few roles being offered. The banks are not, they don't prop trade anymore. Some of the investment banks still do to a small extent, but after 2008 and the GFC, the financial crisis, we've pretty much seen all banks stop prop trading. So getting a job with a bank, you really need to be an IT trader or an IT provider, and you just sit down and watch the machines ticking over. Now there are, like that said, there are certainly some dealers still trained, but very, very few openings. The days, and if there are openings, they are for university graduates in statistics and mathematics, from what I've heard. Sales desks, yeah, that's still an obvious way to get in, but again, I'm not sure how you can get in on a sales desk without having some experience somewhere else. So from what I have seen, your best chance if you want to get into the sales role is to start with one of the brokers and the retail brokers, and cut your teeth there. Learn how to trade, learn how the market works, and then you can perhaps move up back in with one of the banks. But really, unless you're very lucky or very, very, very determined, I just don't see any of the banks hiring anymore. It's unfortunately, just the way the market has changed. So if you want a career in sales in a bank, as I said, I think you've really got to start with one of the retail brokers. Now that's a tough job, because it involves sitting on a phone all day and calling up leads. You've really got to be cut out for that type of job. Some are, but it's a tough one. And dealing desks, even with the brokers, I mean, they have dealing desks. Most brokers would have 2 or 3 dealers working through each session. So probably each broker would have, I don't know, 7 to 10 dealing jobs, and they may well train juniors in. But again, it's there's not very, very many roles available. So as for having a career with a bank or a broker, it's very difficult, very, very difficult. There's just very, very few open. So moving on to trading, because this is probably an area I want to spend a little bit more time on. If you want to make some decent money trading from home, this is probably the way of the moment, selling signals. Now, even from the last webinar I gave on this area, probably a year ago, this has changed. I think it was like as recent as 2 months ago, the FCA in London, the old Financial Services Authority, I don't know what they're called now, but anyway, they have introduced licensing now, or they require all signal providers to be licensed, particularly if it's an automated signal. Now, this market has, especially in places like Japan, it's just exploded, and it's not uncommon to have 1,000 people, 1,000 followers paying a successful signal provider somewhere between $50 and $85 a month. These signals can be fully automated via platforms like the MT4. You've got new platforms coming through like Tradable and C-Trader and the like, and they are also, in fact, Tradable, I think, can offer both automated and non-automated signals, it's become very lucrative. As I just said, in places like Japan, I believe up to 80% of their of the accounts, and they're like one of the biggest, if not the biggest market in retail foreign exchange, and up to 80% of accounts are followers. So they just look for a winning signal and they look to follow them. But as I said, there's a push towards having these signal providers be licensed. So yeah, anyway, we just have to watch this space. It hasn't happened yet, apart from the UK, but it's coming. And I think it's probably within the next couple of years we can expect all of the main jurisdictions to require this licensing. Now, as you can see, if you've got 1,000 people following you at $50 per month, you can quite easily afford to go through all of the hoops required to get the proper license. And look, it's probably a good way that the market's it's a good way for the market to go to get rid of some of the less savory elements. But as I said, if you can set yourself up in such a way to provide both automated if you can set yourself up in a way to provide non-automated signals, then I believe you will be able to get past this licensing requirement. In other words, as long as the client gets a choice, gets to choose whether to pick the trade or not, then you will not be required to be licensed. This isn't going to work for high frequency trading, of course, or for day traders who need, who are very price sensitive. Then, even if it's only a matter of seconds for the signal to go out and the response to come back, it can defeat the purpose. So, non-automated signals do not require a license. Automated, I think, in the next couple of years will. So what you're going to need is a track record. You will need to be able to prove that you have how many signals you deliver on average per month. On average, how much do you make, and how much do you lose on your losing trades? And your MyFX book or similar type services will automatically do this for you on platforms like MT4. So it's very easy to create a marketing story for yourself. Now, what I will say is I think it's important to limit the numbers of people who are following you, and also to limit the amount that these people are allowed to trade. For instance, if you have even one follower who's following you with hundreds of lots, then it's as soon as you place the signal and they follow you with that signal, the market's going to start moving. There is no guarantee on automated signals, or non-automated signals for that matter. There is no guarantee that each follower gets filled at the same rate that you place the signal. So this can be a big issue. And in fact, I won't go into it now, but there was a big story, probably maybe 3 months ago, in the Kiwi dollar, where a very successful follower, I think he had 1,200 followers or something, was regularly moving the market. And then a big investment bank got to find, knew what was happening. And as soon as the signal was placed, they went in and reversed, the investment bank reversed the market, went the other way, and caused absolute havoc. So, it's certainly something you need to be wary of. And aware of is the number of people who follow you and the amount that they trade. I know it's hard to turn followers back, but I think it's important, and it's very important to limit. And it is doable in this day and age. It's doable to limit the numbers, or limit the amounts that people are allowed to follow you with. So, again, just to I think this is the best way for retail traders to earn additional income at this moment in time, is to provide trade signals. So along a similar vein, managing accounts. Look, it's pretty much the same as the signal area, but definitely requires a license in this day and age. When we're talking about licensing, you can, on the signals, you can get around that still, but I think on account management, there's going to be no way past that, and the regulators will require all of the brokers to ensure that anybody who's managing accounts is fully licensed. That said, I don't see any reason why a serious trader in this day and age cannot go and get their basic CTA license with the NFA in the States. Now so I'll just say that again, this is the National Futures Association in the US. They offer the commodity trading advisor, the general CTA license. You can do this online. It doesn't matter where you're situated. They'll take anybody on the planet. And as a basic licensing requirement for a serious trader, I don't see any reason why you can't go ahead and just do that license. You will need a minimum in the retail space. I would say a minimum of a 6-month track record, and you will need to be able to verify that track record on an ongoing basis, and you will need a very set and fixed description of your strategy and your risk management profile. So in this area, certainly there are some people doing very well. I know of one broker in Switzerland, and they've got, I think, 7 account managers on there, all managing $20 million plus. So, there's a big market. There's a big market out there, and you can do very well if you're willing to go to take the effort. If you have the talent, obviously, to trade, and secondly, you're willing to, make the effort to set yourself up in a professional manner. So, that pretty much covers the trading side of it. And finally, and again, similar to the education, training, and mentoring, I can't say that I know anybody who's made a lot of money by writing a book or an ebook, but I know there are plenty of people who did it. So look at it. If you're trying to create a profile for yourself on your blog, and you want to create an online profile, and you have your blog and your Twitter account, it's not a bad thing to do to write an ebook on your area of expertise. But from a sales perspective, talking with other website owners and website managers, I don't think there's all that many people who are selling a lot of books or making a lot of money out of it. And you just need to be so marketing savvy and online savvy. It's a tough gig. So I would say it is probably something for the more successful online people, or guys who've already got a blog and a Twitter, as I said. I definitely would not start out and expect, I'm going to write a book and make a fortune. I don't think it's going to happen. So that pretty much covers it from my end. They're as far as I can see it, they are the opportunities for retail traders. So if anybody has any questions now, please fire away, and I will do my best to answer them. Okay, I've just been asked here, if a retail trader does well consistently, that institutions would seek them out. Well, you would think so, but the difference between managing a $10,000 account for yourself and making, I don't know, a couple of grand a month or whatever you may make from it, and then managing $50 to $100 million positions for an institution. Just massive differences. So I think you've really got to, as a retail trader, be able to build your your risk profile gradually. Okay, I've now been asked for a good place to start for a beginner retail trader. Get profitable. Sorry, sounds very basic. I think about 95% of traders are unprofitable. So I would say if you're profitable, it puts you in the top 5%, and then it opens up certain areas you may be able to, educate other traders on why you're being profitable. You may be able to sell your trade ideas. So there is no magic here. You got to, get profitable. That would be my answer to that question. Okay, I've been asked what type of service is Reuters and Bloomberg looking for. look very, they look for technical analysts, they look for fundamental analysts, and they look for market commentators. The market commentators at the moment, they generally hire people who have some contacts in the market. But of course, the market is changing completely, and more and more has been taken over by the retail space. So so it may take another few years for that to change completely. But for now, as I said, they want people who've got contacts and are able to, deliver some interesting information, like typical journalists, or technical or fundamental analysts. So I've been asked here whether strategy is scalable. If I can make 5% a month on a 10K account, can I not make 5% per month on a 1 million account? Simple answer to that, no. That's, in most cases, not. I mean, if it's a purely systematic approach, of course, then it doesn't matter. You just turn on the machine. But once people become involved and then psychology becomes involved, then people react differently once the amounts get bigger. So I'm getting asked a lot more questions here about trading rather than making a living. Is it okay to have a losing position without a stop loss? Well, it depends. It depends on the type of trader you are. Of course, it is okay to have a losing position without a stop loss. If you're trying to build a position, but then you must have the risk management to manage that. You need to be able to, you can't have a very large position without a stop loss, but you can have a small position without a stop loss. That's the simple answer to that. The average profitable years, I've been asked here, the average profitable years you have to show to knock the doors of big players. Honestly, I would expect all good traders to make money all of the time. I know that's a harsh thing to say, but if good traders will not lose money. They may have flat years, look, that could be up a little bit or down a little bit, but I call that basically flat. But a good trader just makes money pretty much all the time. So that's why you don't go to a big institution looking for an allocation. If you've had large drawdowns, they won't give, you just won't get it. So again, I don't want to go too much on a tangent here, but a 3% drawdown per month, anything more than that, and you're starting to struggle to get allocations from bigger institutions. Now, that doesn't mean if you've got a 10K account that you can't lose $300 a month. I mean, that's obviously ridiculous because the amount in the 10K in your account is more than likely all at risk, and it's not actually the total capital which we would consider to be that you're trading with. So this is why we notionalize amounts. I hope this makes sense. But if you have a 10K account in normal run of events, I would consider that. I would equate that to a $100,000 capital account, and then you shouldn't have any more than a $3,000 a month drawdown. Yeah, 6 months track record, and then you must be able to prove that 6 month wasn't a fluke, and that it's an ongoing. So I would say 6 months track record, and then a live track record of about 3 months, something of that order. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of there's people out there say, "Oh, look at this great track record. It's last 6 months have been brilliant," but they've been running 30 different systems, and they only show you the one that's been going well. So we need to try and avoid that sort of a situation. So I'm sorry if I've missed some questions. Some of them have rolled over a little bit quickly. Sorry, this is not the time to talk about moving averages. So if I've missed any more questions, please shout them out now. Otherwise, I hope that was helpful to somebody. Okay, no worries, Martin. All good. Um, yeah, hi Mason. Look, I believe so. I believe some people think it's a good idea. I would not rely purely on one signal. If it was me, I would pick probably six or eight signals who I liked, and believed in what they did, and then I would try and once one guy gets hot, I would try and probably up my allocation to him and reduce my allocation to the guys who are cooling off a little bit. So it's just like any trading, any portfolio of traders. There are times some signals will work better than others, and then you try to, figure out which is, when you should be investing with whom. Yeah, so I've been asked here about who do I go to with my track record? Look, I'm not going to mention any names here. There's quite a few Manoj on the you know s- uh, yeah, bigger companies who will market your signals for you or market you if you're good enough. So look, it's just go online, you'll find them. Um, okay, how many? That's a fair question. I think that's Justin, isn't it? Uh, yeah, about creating a profile. Um, Look, in order to start getting somebody interested in sponsoring your site, I would say you need um, between 2 and 5,000 regular visitors every month coming to your site. And the way to get them is, you have to provide free content to other sites that already have the traffic. I mean, that's the only way to do it. And so, you go to some of the portals and you start creating an image for yourself, and you provide good content. And it's a lot of work for nothing for a long time, but that's just the way you've got to do it. Yeah. So Twitter followers, I don't know exactly how many Twitter followers, but between 2 and 5,000 unique users every month, and then you will start to get some interest from sponsors. Yeah, no age limit, Alex. I know, you know, some guys, 16-year-olds who are doing quite well. So there's definitely no age limit. Um, well, let's say 10. Anybody under 10 is not allowed. No, sorry, I'm being flippant. Yeah, they look at some very young traders these days, and who am I to say who's too young? As long as you're profitable and got a good record, yeah. Um, Institutional investors, look at Martin. Anything over 15% regular return per annum, and if you can do that year in year out, then you're a champion. Keep your drawdowns under, say, if you could keep them under 2% and show 15% returns, then yeah, you'll be shutting your books pretty quickly because have so much money coming in. Yeah, Manoj, it's all about the numbers mostly these days. Yeah, that's all anybody cares about, especially the investors. And they just tick boxes, go and look at all the numbers, tick the box. If you tick all the boxes, then you get an allocation. So it seems that everybody's interested in trading and nobody's interested in trying to um, earn an income any other way. Look, I can't say I blame you. We're all after the easy money, retirement trades. Anyway, I think that's going to about cover it for today. Sorry if I didn't answer all the questions, and again, I hope it was of use to somebody. Yeah, and good night, good day.